Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. This is Women Empowerment Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Carmelle Bias. Oh, we are in the studio once again on a beautiful day here in Seattle, Washington. Yes, with our guest this afternoon, Miss Avon Curtis, Executive Director of Arms Around You nonprofit located here in Seattle, Washington. Yes. Now, today, before we jump into today's interview, want to go ahead and give y'all some announcements it is that I have. The Youth Entrepreneurship Program we've been working on for the last 2 years here. We are looking forward into 2024. We've got some great opportunities for those of you that are out there, want to be, a guest speaker, volunteer your time, whatever that may look like for you. We're excited to definitely be, soon here working with the King County Seattle Juvenile, so that's definitely, we're making some progress here, y'all, with the Youth Entrepreneurship Program to be able to support the youth, when it comes to making that transition, and providing them with the support and the resources it is that they need, to help them along the way. So again, if you are someone it is who is, looking to volunteer your time with young people, want to be a guest speaker, you want to share your testimony, your story, your trials and tribulations, we would love to have you. You can go ahead and definitely contact us at Women in Business Expo Group at yahoo.com, or take a look at our website, www.wibeg.biz, for more information and details. Also, too, again, I want to remind y'all that website is up and running. We're looking for small business owners to put their products and services on that site there. We want to encourage small business owners, to encourage the audience, to shop locally, shop small business. And now is the time, too, with the Christmas around the way, the New Year's, and, just starting a new year here. So we want to definitely encourage you all to have that mindset to shop with small business owners here. Take a look at the website. You can definitely find some good products on there, good services, and just an all-around way to stay connected with our community. So again, that website is www.wibeg.biz. All right, y'all, I want to thank our guest this afternoon, Miss Avon Curtis, as I stated, is with the Arms Around You nonprofit organization in Seattle. Miss Avon, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, good morning. I am excellent. And thank you for having me on the platform this morning. I feel
Yes.
honored.
Yes, well, we are glad to have you, on the show with us this afternoon. Miss Avon was part of our workshop number 4, the community resource workshop there that we did at Echo Glen here just a couple months ago. She just has such an amazing story, amazing testimony, and the mission it is. She's doing the work, y'all. Okay. And those are the kind of people it is that we definitely, want to stay connected here at Women Empowerment Talk Radio. So, Miss Avon, why don't you go ahead, tell our listening audience a little bit more about yourself.
Yes. So, and thank you. Thank you for that warm introduction. I appreciate that. Um, Good morning. Good morning, listeners. My name is Avon Curtis. I'm the founder and executive director of Arms Around You. And I was born and raised here in the Central District of Seattle. Um, Definitely rooted in the Central District of Seattle. And I really, really, really love and embrace my community, as a lot has changed. A lot has changed in the community. And for me, I feel led to be able to come back to my community and share my experience, my strength, and my hope for a healing community. I'm really, really, a person of giving, because I know you can't keep it unless you give it away. And one of the things that I really embrace is, in order for me to heal, I gotta assist, my peers in my community to heal as well, because we're healing together.
Yes, yes, and that's definitely it. Is us having that ability to be able
Mhm.
to give back to our community, and being able to support one another also too. As we were preparing for this interview, I noticed, in your bio information that was sent over, you've made, a transition here, a move that brought you back to Seattle from the Bay Area. Can we talk a little bit about that transition and what inspired you, to leave from Seattle, but then to come back to the area?
Ooh, that's a loaded question,
Oh,
but I do have an answer. Carmela, to be totally transparent with you, because I believe in transparency, and I know, our community, when we're building relationship, being transparent and real is important. I wasn't inspired. I kind of landed there, in my journey, you know, being a person that left Seattle, Washington in 87, running, moving, and, I was young. I was young. So, looking for that place that I can feel a sense of belonging is what I felt in the Bay Area. That Bay Area comes with a really rich cultural background. And I embraced that background because they embraced me.
mhm.
Being a Black woman that has experienced some harm both ways. When I went to the Bay Area, that that community was very culturally relevant, and
Mm,
I felt that. So I decided that I would make that my home. So getting my life back on track, finding my balance, as well as putting myself in a place of recovery and healing is where the Bay Area opened up a new life, a new way of life for me.
yeah.
Um, you know, I um, I started in San Francisco. San Francisco is similar to Seattle. That feeling that familiarity when you go to San Francisco. I don't know if you've been before, but if you haven't, you'll feel like you're in Seattle because you're looking at the trolleys. Remember when we had the trolleys and downtown, and it just felt like a sense of belonging for me. So I landed in Seattle and I started my career in property management, low income affordable housing in San Francisco. And
Okay.
as I was building on my growth, San Francisco was my recovery community. So I was building on growth. And as I became more empowered to be self sufficient while in the community, I then decided I was blessed to buy my first home.
Mm,
I moved to Oakland, California after living 5 years in San Francisco. And I bought my home in Oakland because, well, when I went to Oakland, it heightened it heightened a whole nother cultural community. San Francisco, again, as I mentioned, similar to Seattle. So when I went to Oakland, it was majority of Black community.
mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I could live here. And I bought a home in West Oakland and just took off from there,
Wow.
and I actually stayed in Oakland. I stayed in the Bay Area for over 20 years, but I always came back home.
Right. And definitely that's
And
a
moving back, and to other part of your question, I'm sorry. Coming back, Carmela, I noticed our community needed me.
mm,
My
good.
community needs me.
Yes.
You know, um, my kids were here. My whole family's here.
Yeah.
Even though, my children were in the Bay Area with me, and I decided that, okay, we're moving back home. So that transition of bringing me back really, really spiked the idea that God had allowed me to do in the assignment to bring arms around you. So when I
Mm,
came back home, I knew that what I got in the Bay Area, it needed to be here in our community.
Yes. Yes. And that's definitely it. Good to see that you were able to, fulfill the need, and the need being here, in Seattle, Washington. And sometimes, God will take us around the way to
Yes.
see where we need to be, you know. And that's a great testimony there, in that area. Why don't you let our listeners know a little bit? And I just want to touch on this. In your bio, have you at some point experienced homelessness?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit, because that's one of the things, that's a big epidemic we always hear in the news here now, and especially what's going on here in the Seattle area. So why don't you go ahead, let our listeners know a little bit about your experience, because you've walked the walk, and now
Mhm.
you're talking the talk. And
Mhm.
she's been there, y'all. She's been
Mhm.
there. So let's
Mhm.
go ahead and share that part of your journey.
So my experience is from the lived experience that I have of being homeless was making real unhealthy choices. I when I mention transparency, I'm really serious about being transparent. I'm really raw and uncut, and I say that in a sense of I my life is an open book to where I don't mind the readers to come on in, and share my journey, but you got to bring your whole mind. And in doing so, you'll be able to understand what it was like. So, um, experiencing some substance abuse, as well as some other areas in my life that I want to say that was harmful. And I also, take accountability for the harm that I've done to the community. You know, um, I was faced with having to make a choice,
Mhm.
and I chose to go the other route.
Yes.
Um, in that unhealthy thinking, I became homeless.
Mhm.
I became homeless. I lost everything, you
Yes.
know. And you know, um, I don't ponder on that as much as I used to, because I knew I had to really come up out of being held hostage by
Mhm.
my choices. And so in my homelessness, you know, I really, really, really paid close attention to the fact that I knew that I couldn't, I, I can't do this. I can't continue doing this. But I was stuck.
Mhm.
I was stuck. My thinking patterns were off. I was unbalanced. I had experienced you know, um, some chemical imbalances, as well as some um, spiritual imbalances, mental imbalances, and all those imbalances that were stirring inside my soul kept me in a homeless community for
Mhm.
over 4 years.
Wow.
And that 4 years, we so there's that one part in the word where Daniel's in the lion's den.
Mhm.
you know I'll take that, and I don't flip the word. I dare not, right? Because that's we
Yes.
dare we dare not flip the word, but I will cross refer. you know um Being in the lion's den, and knowing that while I was homeless, that God continued to
Yeah.
walk with me. I was in some very, dark places where I was able to know that God was with me. But guess what? I had to have a conversation with God too during that time. And so my spiritual tact kept me um, during that time that I was homeless.
Yeah.
So being homeless is something that I'm definitely not ashamed of, because I was able to I was able to overcome
Mm.
that imbalance,
Yes.
and I was able to overcome the unhealthy thinking patterns. I was
Yeah.
able to overcome the homelessness. And that's where I dusted myself off, got back up on my feet, and tried it again. When we
Yeah.
talk about recovery, you will recover for the rest of your life. And so it's not a one and done. Oh, I
Mhm.
got recovery. No, you'll be recovering for the rest of your life, just like you'll be healing for the rest of your life. So I
Yeah.
got back up on my feet, you know, and I dusted myself off and I tried it again.
Yes, yes. And that's a great, I mean, just an amazing testimony of overcoming, and us as business owners, that's what we do every day, all day. It's about overcoming the barriers, overcoming those things it is that may hold us back from our past, overcoming. And that's definitely one of the characteristics it is that we need to have here as strong business owners here today. We got to overcome a lot in just in life and in social, gatherings in whatever it may be, as being strong to overcome. And Miss
Mm.
Avon Curtis, you have said it today. Okay.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
love
you.
that. I love that. Why don't we go ahead and let's talk about Arms Around You. What is the mission statement and when was the organization founded?
Oh my goodness. The mission. So here we go with transparency again. The mission statement, the original mission statement, right? Because it was me. It all started with me. It started with an idea. Well, let's back up. God planted the seed for the assignment, and then it was the idea, and then the vision, and then the mission. So I'm plugging away at the mission, right? I'm putting it together in my head, but I also reached out because I'm not a writer, so I wanted it to make sense. Because although I was thinking, okay, this is what our mission is and this is what I was hoping for, I still needed it to make sense to the people in the community. So the mission is that Arms Around You provides resources and referrals, as well as that peer mentorship, that peer to peer relationship that we have, because those of us with lived experience, we're able to speak to it, we're able to identify it. But really, the main mission is that we create a sense of belonging and kinship, that those of us that are coming from a formerly incarcerated and homeless population will be able to have a safe space to heal together. And so you'll see our mission statement, in our marketing and advertisement, that stuff, but I'm speaking to it more in depth and richly, because that's what I was explaining to, you know, the person that was helping me write the mission statement. So I just, I put it out there on what I was hoping for in a mission, but it has expanded into so much more. The doors have opened to so much more, but the main mission is to provide, you know, um, resources, referrals, and support services to formerly incarcerated individuals, that are currently and formerly incarcerated and homeless.
Yes, yes. Let me ask you this, Miss Avon Curtis, is you mentioned some of the services it is that you offer. Let's go into depth there in the services it is that you offer, and then is there any cost at all?
Ooh. So I'm going to go backwards with it, even though I know you asked about the services first and then the cost, but I want to speak to the cost. There is no cost in service, especially a service where you're dealing with a community that is underserved, have barriers, and also are dusting themselves off, right? So we would create more barriers to charge for the reward, right? And the reward is in the dedication of, okay, I'm in this situation. I have to make better choices. And I need to be able to connect with an organization that will not charge me for that. So there is no cost of ours for our services. The only cost is that you demonstrate the commitment of wanting to change and have a better healthy thinking pattern. There is no cost, you know. Um, so to answer that question backwards, and the services that we offer. So we do have, so the cost. Now we do have two women's homes,
Oh, great.
and so we got to keep the lights on, right? So,
Yeah.
but initially, what we don't want is for people that are currently incarcerated, women that are
Hmm.
currently incarcerated, to stay incarcerated because of their inability to pay. So we don't say, oh, you have to, you know, you know, pay your housing cost in advance. We say no, let arms around you embrace you so they can drop the locks, and then you come home. And our hope is that you'll set goals that'll be, really sustainable for you to be in, then to pay for your cost of housing, because we both know, and we all know, that housing is, the market rate for housing is extremely high. So, the only cost that I will say is that once the women get on their feet, that they're responsible for paying that housing cost, but you got to pay to stay. There's
Yeah.
nowhere you can live. And we're preparing the women to be able to be self-sufficient. So that's that. But we're not saying, oh, you can't come to Arms Around You Safe Home. And that SAFE stands for Sisterhood Alliance for Freedom and Equality.
Mm.
So we don't say you can't come home to the safe home because you're not able to pay. We bring you home, help you with setting goals, but you set your own goals, and then we work on that cost, once you're able. Once you're able to pay.
Yeah.
And the services are broadly, to the community with, we have resources to employment. We have resources to education placement. We have resources to food. We have resources to transportation. We have resources to community network and other organizations. We have resources to, oh man, we have so many. We have developed really a lot of resources under the umbrella, but our main focus is to be able to reduce those barriers that our community has with, getting services offered to them without one, oh, your credit score is too low, or
Mhm.
oh, you have a background, oh, you don't have a license, and those things. I mean, those are things that when we're coming from a homeless community and a formerly incarcerated community, that we have to then, you know, um, empower ourselves to get there and clean that stuff up.
Yeah.
So, Arms Around You allows for individuals, people, to walk through that door as you are.
That's
Come
a
as you are, because then we'll be able to provide a service, because we know when you come as you are, we can work from there. But I
yeah.
will say it's a 90-10. The 90-10 rule is you in the 90 and us in the 10, because we are not going to do your footwork, but what we will do is support you in the leg work, and walk alongside you to help you in your journey of becoming more self-sufficient in the community, getting sustainable employment, right?
Yeah.
Getting, sustainable jobs, building a career. But I want to just say this. It all starts from the inside. A lot
Mhm.
of times we get people that comes home, and they want to take off running, right? I don't want to get a job. I want to, well, hold up. You know, what we want you to do is rest, refresh, reset, and recharge. and then we take off running.
That's definitely it too. For those of you that are just tuning in, you are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. This is Women Empowerment Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Carmelle Bias, and we are in the studio today via StreamYard with our guest, Miss Avon Curtis, Executive Director of Arms Around You nonprofit located here in Seattle, Washington. And y'all, she is doing the work, definitely leaving a footprint out there in our community, for those it is that maybe are recently uh, being released from incarceration and providing the service, providing the support and the resources it is that we need out here. So I again want to thank you for your time this afternoon and being a part of our show, sharing your journey, your story, your expertise and everything along the way. Why don't you go ahead, Miss Avon, and let our listeners know, how does someone contact you? Maybe someone it is that's out there that's listening that has been recently released from incarceration, or someone that has a family member, and they need that support and the resources. What does one do?
So we do have offices in both King and Pierce County, but because we're here in King, you would call our office in King. We're located at 1404 East Yesler, Seattle, Washington, 98122. So the steps are to call the office. The office number is 206 322 1992. Call the office. We'll get you plugged in and make sure that you get what you need. You're also welcome to visit our website at www.armsaroundyou.org. And we're on all social media platforms. Log into our Facebook, like, and please do share because we're stronger together. And, for those of us that are in the community and we know that it takes a village, the village is us. And
Yes.
so please like, please share, and please feel free to give us a call so we can get you plugged in the service.
Awesome. Miss Avon Curtis, I want to go ahead and thank you for your time this afternoon on the show, Women Empowerment Talk Radio on Rainier Avenue Radio World. And I want to thank you listeners for tuning in. Until next time.